The West Virginia coaching search seems to have narrowed its focus down to two candidates. Well, what do I think of them?
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up? Welcome in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. Thanks for joining in on another jam-packed episode of the show. We just spoke just a little bit ago, so it's nice to see you again. Going to be brought to you by 5 Hour Energy, which I need right now. I'm pretty tired. I'm an old fogey. Let me just let you know that now. I'm in bed by 10 o'clock usually every night. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find 15 flavors to choose from. If you need one now, grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your friend every single day. My buddy Timothy Green, yes, let's talk about some basketball and narrowing the focus of the search. It started off this way, really. It's never really gone much further than this. But on today's show, we're going to talk about the two candidates, which is pretty obvious by now. The search is against a really narrow focus. Candidates have moved on. Candidates have gone elsewhere. Some candidates have verbally spoken about where they're going to go next, thus taking themselves for the most part out of the equation. You've got, it looks like Ryan Odom possibly going to Virginia. Richard Pitino looks like he may be replacing him at VCU. And so candidates are moving here, there, and everywhere in between. But what about the West Virginia job? The best job available. It's open, it's ready, it's willing. Somebody's just got to come on home and stick around for a while, make this program great again. Maybe we'll start a hat, something like MAGA, except we'll figure it out. So where do I want to start? There are two candidates that most people will tell you are the front runners for this job right now. There is a clear, at least widely viewed to believe, number one candidate for the job, and then there is a number two guy. And then there are some other ones that you could speculate on. We do know that Ben McCollum, the Drake coach who has just already won a tournament game, is the number one candidate. Obviously, he plays tomorrow, and we will be watching intently on that game. We believe that Rimbaker wants to wrap this up by Sunday. That's the conventional wisdom. What most people would say, the portal's opening soon. And it just would be for the best if we could get this thing wrapped up quick like other teams are trying to do. So not only him, but obviously Jared Calhoun, the Utah State coach, who really got blew out in his game the other day. But look, guys, here's my thing with things like that. You can't have knee-jerk reactions to that. You just can't. Was it a bad game for them? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Their worst game all year? Yeah, it was kind of like our Colorado game. Is Darren DeVries a bad coach? Everything we think about him, we're all mad at him, but step back from that and admit that, yes, he's a good coach, right? Just like the Colorado game shouldn't impact Darren DeVries, it shouldn't impact Jared Calhoun. You can't have knee-jerk reactions on this kind of stuff. So looking at this, though, I think, obviously, if you're asking me, and I'll be honest, I think I saw – maybe in Voice, I think it was Voice of Morgantown that may have written an article on this or somebody, and I've seen it a couple other places because the obvious distinction with Calhoun is Huggins, right? Comes along with him. We're going to talk about that in the next segment, or at least presumably. For now, let's focus in on Ben McCollum and why I think he should be the guy, because I can make a pretty good case for Ben McCollum. I really do think that, and this may be bad to some people, I think he's Darren DeVries 2.0 in a lot of ways. Obviously, the route that he's taken to get to where he is, he's obviously at Drake, which would be the second consecutive coach from Drake to West Virginia. He's similarly gifted in the X's and O's of the game. All they do it different ways, right? He's a much slower pace than Darren DeVries. Some would call it boring. I certainly would not call it boring. It's a style that he has to play at Drake with 4 Division II transfers. You have to. It's much like a team, like when you play a high-powered offense and you have to run the ball to control the clock. Similar, very similar. What their strategy is, they average as high as 83 points a game at Northwest Missouri State in the past. So it's not like he can't get offense as well. It's just really probably, I would imagine, and as you scale up talent, that's going to change it, right? If you've got really gifted offensive players, probably don't play as slow a style. So it's one of those things that it can deviate. Yes, please, everybody, like and sub. I forget to ask. I forget to ask a lot. I really do. So apologies for that. Like, subscribe, share the video out, the whole thing. I would really appreciate it. We go live 7 days a week here, multiple times a day, especially during coaching searches. During the Rich Rod, we were going live 3, 4, 5 times a day with updates. I work tirelessly at this. I'm into my 13th hour right now researching all this, and I haven't taken a break. I have not left my computer today. I've done nothing but research these coaches, watch a little bit of the games that have been on, but I've really dug into tape. I've been digging into just what they do well and trying to find reasons to like them, because, whenever we're about to hire a coach, I'm just the kind of fan, I could be negative, but I want to look for reasons to like them, not confirmation bias. I want to find things in their craft that I actually like about them, whether that's their sideline composure, their out of timeout play calls. What does the offense look like under them? What does the defense look like under them? Both are pretty good offensive coaches. Jared Calhoun's defensive intensity wasn't where you would want it this year at Utah State. And that's the problem for a lot of Mountaineer fans that I've seen, because that just doesn't align with who we've been. So certainly I can see why some people would feel that way. I would just say that he's in year 1 at Utah State. And he built that Youngstown. He built the Youngstown team up from nothing. But let's get to McCollum. I keep bouncing off track here. Obviously, one of the great things about him is he's 43, so he's actually 6 years younger than Darren DeVries. Now, he is from Iowa, just like Darren DeVries, and maybe just like Darren DeVries, he wouldn't like, this part of the country. It's really hard to say. That Northwest Missouri job, a lot of people look at it. When you look at the first few years of that job, they didn't win a lot. They won 12, then they won 10. Finally, they turned it around in year 3 and 22, back down to 21, and then they never won less than 24 a game. Actually, it went from 24 to 25 to 27 to 35. That 16-17 team was really good. They had a 38-0 team, so they had a bunch of really good teams down there. And then here he is again. He eclipsed 30 wins again this year at Drake. The dude can just flat out coach ball. He knows how to win. Some of the things that he does is just incredible. Love his philosophies as well. One of the things I heard him say the other day was, we just won't allow moody kids in our program. And that's not something you hear people say a lot. But I was really drawn in by what he had to say. He said that the kind of kids they won't accept in their program are this: drama, divas, which is dime a dozen in basketball. So let's say, I think I mentioned this on the last show. If you're the kind of person that likes to joke and play around one day, maybe you're hitting people with towels, maybe you're pinching somebody, maybe you're hitting them with the ball and pretending like it's not you, like guys do. And then the next day it happens to you and you have a conniption, you throw a fit over it. And that's like how you are all the time. That's the kind of person Ben McCollum doesn't want in his program. He was very open and honest in saying that on one of the interviews that I've seen him do this week. And I love that. I think it's very important not to have those kind of guys around. I think it's one of those things that can alienate a team, especially because, you don't want to be around somebody that's moody like that, man. And in this day and age where everything's transactional, you don't have as much character. People aren't searching for it as often as they had before. It's like, God, this really talented kid averaged 19 a game. And yeah, he's a diva, but he averaged 19 a game. And, so while he's a good individual player, sometimes the team's not close, right? So you got that kind of stuff going on. And I love a lot about Ben McCollum. I really do think he's got a chance to be a DeVries 2.0 type guy. And if he liked Morgantown, he's the kind of personality that I would fall in love with in Morgantown. And I would love to see it happen. Like I am, just like I was with DeVries last year, I'm sweating this one in. I sweat DeVries in over Byington last year. After watching it, it was very clear to me that DeVries was the better coach than Byington. I still feel that way, even after what happened. We're just talking about on the floor coaching. I really do feel that way, but I feel less confident with this one. We were the best offer he had last year because Michigan chose to offer Dusty May, obviously, and some of the offers that he had weren't as good as we have to offer. So I don't know if McCollum cares. There's a few people out there that feel like he's going to take the Iowa job, and so we may have no choice but to move on to this next candidate, which we're going to talk about next, Jared Calhoun, and how he actually could be the better fit for the job along with Bob Huggins. Let's talk about that next on Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Nissan. We're all about the stats around here, and numbers never lie. When it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, numbers are on a Javon Small / MVP level. With the ability to throw up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus the gear wherever you go. It's powered by two twin-turbo V6 engines delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. With room for up to 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for the big cruise, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the Coliseum with your boys, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Or girls. Take your adventure to new heights with the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X and learn more today at nissanusa.com. And, of course, we can't forget about our friends over at 5 Hour Energy. We love talking about them as well, guys, because they do such an excellent job at 5 Hour Energy. And if the daylight savings has snuck up on you again this year and you're feeling that lost hour of sleep when you wake up in the mornings, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need to power through. You need to boost through to the next level. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day and the life of a mountaineer, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Don't forget, guys, the madness is going on. It's March after all, and I've been staying up late watching all the tournament action, and 5 Hour Energy helps keep me up even the next day. If you need a little extra daylight and extra activities with longer days, how about getting outside for a hike or a run? Tropical Burst can be your go-to for a quick boost. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. Heck, you can even build your own 12 or 24 pack. Nobody tells you what to do. Deliver it right to your front door. If you need a new one right now, grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're basically everywhere. All you have to do is stock up today and stay energized. It's segment 2. Let's crack a do. Let's crack a do. I don't care. It's 9 o'clock. Oh, that's the one from earlier. It's flat. Ugh. Okay, that's fine, though. Still got the caffeine in it a little bit, right? Okay, so I think I've seen a few people mention this. Obviously, without seeing in these articles, obviously, if you're just any kind of West Virginia fan at all, you realize, okay, bringing in Jared Calhoun automatically opens the door for Bob Huggins to return in some capacity, whether that's just in front of the program or as an assistant coach even. Who knows? right? And I think you could certainly do worse than an assistant coach named Bob Huggins. I don't think the university would let it go that far, this close to what happened. I wish it would if this happened. I would absolutely love him as the assistant coach, obviously, but he would overshadow Calhoun. Everybody knows that, and it would probably be overall bad for the program. Something I thought a lot about. While I think in practice and theory it sounds good, at the end of the day, if you've got Bob Huggins on your staff, a Hall of Famer, a top 50 coach of all time, Calhoun's not going to see the light of day because everybody's going to want to interview Bob, ask him about the team, and he's such a great interview as well. It's just it would be bad, I think. And so having him as a friend of the program, totally different story. And this is the path I've seen a couple of people go down. I think Voice of Morgantown did an article on this, which I felt was a very good article because it talks about Bob Huggins as a fundraiser for the program. Everything we see in that practice facility, which makes it so top notch, came from Hugs. The basketball facility, some of the recovery they have, it's a lot of the equipment that they use, all Bob Huggins. A lot of the NIL that we've had the first year with him, where we had the best class in America, that was Bob Huggins. He knows them donors. That Ken Kendrick we saw with Rich Rod today, he's good buddies with Bob Huggins. Well, he used to be. And so you look at it like with Bob Huggins at his side in a fundraising role, you could possibly set Jared Calhoun up to succeed more so than even Ben McCollum, right? So that's the thinking on it. Is Jared Calhoun straight up as good of a coach as Ben McCollum? I don't know. I don't want to say yes yet because neither have had to really prove it on the big stage yet. So you can only speculate, right? If you go by their year, Utah State versus what Drake did, well, Utah State plays a little bit tougher competition, I would say. I don't know. I'd have to go look at their schedules and actually compare because the Missouri Valley Conference is a tough conference. Let's look at Utah State, see who they played this year really quick. I'm actually curious about that. I haven't looked at their entire schedule. Let's see. Let's go to Google. Okay. All right. So pulling up Utah State's schedule really quick. All right. So it looks like going in reverse. Obviously, they played UNLV, which is another one of the candidates I've seen for us. They beat Air Force by 40. They lost to Medved and Colorado State by 30. They lost to Boise State. They did beat San Diego State and San Jose State by a lot. Gosh, 50. They lost to New Mexico. So they were kind of rough down the stretch, right? But they beat Colorado State at home. They lost to Colorado State on the road. Typical, right? They beat Fresno State on the road. They beat Utah, San Jose State. Let's see. I'm trying to think of the good teams they beat here. They beat South Florida. You see San Diego. They lost 2-2. They did beat Iowa. That's kind of funny. Yeah, no, I don't know, guys. I mean, this schedule is definitely similar in strength, I would say, to a Missouri Valley schedule. I mean, once you get into the conference, I mean, they did beat St. Mary's on the road. That's a very good win. That's better than any win freaking North Carolina had this past year, which thank God they lost. They did beat Boise State at home, which was basically, I think you could say, basically close to being a tournament team. UNLV they beat. San Diego State they beat. So they had good wins. They beat Colorado State once. They beat UNLV. Then they actually lost to Colorado State in the Mountain West tournament, but got in as an at-large, and, of course, got drubbed by UCLA. But, I don't know. But comparatively, if you look at Drake's, I don't want to go through it all. Screw it. And let me look at it really quick. Let's see. Drake's schedule. I mean, they didn't hardly lose anybody, though. So it's like going to look a lot better for McCollum in this scenario, most likely. I don't see him getting by Texas Tech. I'd be shocked if they beat Texas Tech, but we'll see. They definitely could. So they played Bradley in the Missouri Valley final. They beat Belmont, Southern Illinois, Missouri State, Evansville, University of Northern Iowa, uh, University of Illinois Chicago. They had Bradley, which is a game they lost. Illinois State. Looking at this, I would say I'd definitely give the edge to the Utah State schedule. Definitely harder. I mean, St. Mary's, those teams are tougher than any of these teams. Murray State, which is, they can be good some years. Yeah, I'm not seeing any games on here that knock my socks off. Bradley did have a pretty good team this year. They beat Kansas State, but this is a down Kansas State team. But then again, we saw how good Kansas State could be when they put it all together, too. Just one of the weirdest rosters. For whatever reason, Jerome Tang didn't. Oh, they also beat Miami. So they did have some good non-con wins here for a Missouri Valley team. Obviously, they beat Valparaiso. So did they play a super tough schedule? They beat Belmont, and what was a down year for Belmont. I don't know. I think they're very similar in a lot of ways, but generally speaking, I think they were similar schedules. I would give the edge to Utah State's schedule, absolutely. Having to play the teams that they played. I mean, you played St. Mary's. That's better than any team on Drake's schedule for the most part. So, and they played them twice. So I think that, that gives them an edge with a couple other teams. So in schedule, you could make a case that they both played to a similar level, right? I think you win 26 games with the schedule Utah State has, and you win 30 with the one Drake has. Both are equally as impressive to me. Maybe you give the edge to Drake just because winning 30 games is really hard. And they won a game in the NCAA tournament now. It's to where Utah State didn't. So you're taking points away from one and adding to the other. But I would say this. If I knew for sure, if you could tell me and sit me down and say, hey, Paul, for sure, Bob Huggins is going to be able to raise money for Jared Calhoun and get him similar support that he had in NIL, that would make this race a lot closer for me. Because at the end of the day, guys, it's all about the athletes you can get on the floor. Let's go to a quick 6-second break. We'll come back on the other side and put a bow on this one. This is Locked On West Virginia. Stick around. All right, we are back here, Locked On West Virginia in segment 3, talking some basketball, some West Virginia hoops, down to 2 final candidates, we think, for now. Anything could happen, obviously. Said this multiple times. McCollum may say no. Calhoun may get swooped up by somebody else while you're courting McCollum, or maybe he signs at Utah State. He's got a Utah State contract that's ready to be signed as we speak. Utah State seemed to be sweating it out, kind of hoping that he doesn't. So, I mean, look, I don't know which way we're going to go on this. I could even see there being a mystery candidate that maybe Rimbaker goes after if McCollum ends up not being the guy. I think overall McCollum is the better choice. I just think he's the better coach. I think he'll do less with more. I love what he's done with 4 Division II transfers. Obviously, he knows what talent looks like, knows how to play with less. That's a big deal at West Virginia. But what if you give a guy like that more than he's used to having? Well, you're going to get that at West Virginia, especially if he gets like some of the DeVries support that's still clanging around the halls of West Virginia. Now that you can go to the donors and say, hey, look, you can turn this thing around quick. We just did it, right, with Darren DeVries. No reason to hold out on this guy, McCollum, who just won a game in the NCAA tournament over an SEC team. Give him what he needs, and let's roll. As to where in Calhoun's case, I think you could have Huggins fundraising alongside of him, and that's also appealing. That's also very appealing. Now, how long will Hugs be alive? I mean, that's a gruesome question to ask, but I mean, he's what, 70, close to 70, he might be 73 now. I mean, will he even live at when he even lasts the contract of Calhoun? So, I mean, you have to ask these hard questions because I personally think that he's a factor for Calhoun as far as the fundraising side of this goes and getting money for the program. There's no other two ways about it. And you have to ask yourself, well, Huggins has already had a heart attack, a bad one. He's got a pacemaker, 73. Would he make a 5 or 6 year contract? Will he make it to 80? I hope so. But what if he doesn't? Do you factor that into the hire? I don't know. I think it's a weird, maybe to some that's a weird question. But if you think the Huggins aspect of this is that important, then maybe it gives you cause to pause. I don't know. I think I would rather personally, if you're asking me, I would rather have Nico Medved. That's my number 2 guy. I know he's going to Minnesota, but just like Iowa, West Virginia is a better job than Minnesota. Like, what are we talking about here? Now, home is home for him, right? But what if West Virginia offers? Like, I don't know. I've never understood why we can't go after Medved. Is there some reason we can't? That somebody has talked about? Has he already been announced there? Maybe he's already been announced there. Honestly, I haven't even checked. Let's see. Let's see. I don't see anything on him anyway. It says this is 2 days ago. Colorado State's AD is looking forward to keeping Nico Medved. I doubt that's going to happen. They're still in the tournament also, so that's like, I'm an idiot. Guys, I'll just be honest with you. I was so messed up over us getting out of the tournament. I haven't watched very much, maybe 1 or 2 games, and I watch it every year religiously. But us missing the tournament with the way things happened with Darren DeVries, it crushed me. I know a lot of people, I don't know how big of a fans you are of West Virginia, and I'm certainly not here to judge that or make you feel bad for being – I'm crazy. Let's just say that really quick. Like, obviously I'm crazy. I get on here and tell you guys about my past and tell you that I was addicted to drugs and I'm 5 years clean. I tell you guys about me going to jail and prison and all that stuff, ultimately because I want to share a message of experience, strength, and hope and show that other people can overcome that stuff. But it takes a certain kind of person to get on here and talk about that stuff in front of 700 people right now. So, I get it. I'm a nutcase. So when it comes to my West Virginia fandom, I take it too seriously. And I've been told it my whole life. I've gotten into actual physical fights over it. If you guys want to hear a funny story, which if you guys haven't ever seen the Big 12 squad, there is a funny side of me. I don't get to show it on here as much. But like they all think I'm, some kind of comedian over on that one for whatever reason. I do enjoy being funny, but I take this job a little serious, but I got into a fight in jail one time over. So this was in 2011, and I got into a fight over Tavon Austin versus DeAnthony Thomas. I don't remember exactly how it started, but it was I was trying to educate people, like, you guys don't know, like, this Tavon Austin guy is like really good. This is Tavon's junior year. So he wasn't exactly super well known yet. And I was downplaying this DeAnthony Thomas guy, and this Tavon Austin guy I was saying was better than. And this guy got mad enough to swing on me, right? Like I didn't start it, obviously, but yeah, so like I'm a pretty crazy West Virginia fan. To make my larger overarching point here, I've been crushed over the loss of DeVries, the loss of Tucker, and the way we didn't get into the tournament. It soured me on everything going with this year's tournament. And I'm honestly only just now I've got allergies going on here. I'm only just now getting to the point to where I even want to watch any games again, because like it's taken me a few days to really get past it. I was so upset. I'm just so tired of being overlooked as a West Virginia fan. And if you're a West Virginia fan and here in this chat, like it is totally a thing. We totally get overlooked. We totally get looked down upon. We totally get left out of things. I don't know exactly what it is. It's like maybe it's a stigma. I'm not exactly sure, but there's something about it that causes this stuff to happen. And it doesn't happen to even like Baylor or other teams like that. Like, I just think people think something like West Virginians. I really do think that they see like the Whitakers or like these things you see on YouTube. I think people really think that we're that dumb or something. I don't know. I've never been able to figure out why people look down on us so much. But it's like not paranoia either. It's obvious, at this point. I go back to all the way to, obviously the Sugar Bowl, Clemson, Kirk Herbstreit openly saying Clemson would destroy us. How often do you see it? Have you ever seen in a big playoff game or a BCS game, a guy, I've heard him say, we'll beat this team soundly today or something like that. But like his literal words were, I think Clemson is going to destroy. She literally said, I think they're going to destroy West Virginia. It was the opposite, right? Like he didn't even know. Like, so, like we've always had this thing where people just kind of look down on us. And that's just one very small example. I'm off my soapbox. Thank you guys for joining in tonight. It's been fun. I don't know which way this is going to go. Tomorrow's game, Drake's got a tough game tomorrow versus Texas Tech. I don't anticipate them winning that game. And we better hope that they don't, because Texas, I don't know who they're going after, but we don't need them looking Ben McCollum's way either. So we need to – that's the best case scenario. Wilson03 in the chat, which if you're listening on podcast, you can't see, but I'll read his out really quick. It says, if McCollum can keep Frazier, we're a 20-plus win team next year. I do agree with that. And the Chester Frazier portion of this conversation is one that I just don't know, man. I wouldn't – I think there is – I'm very interested in the possibility of him as head coach, but it would go against everything that Ren Baker says he's going to do. I still got the paper right here that I wrote down from Ren Baker's press conference, because every now and again I'll look down at my notes. And it says, proven, I'm going to hire a proven, successful coach. I've got those 3 words underlined. And that's not necessarily Chester Frazier, right? Because he means proven, successful head coach. And while I think Chester could do the job well, if we get down to Chester Frazier, guys, I think some things went wrong with the search, and I think maybe that they can try to figure out a way to keep him, though, because the next guy that comes in, good luck finding a better assistant. Like, you're not going to find a guy that's a better. So we'll see, I definitely, but like if you're asking me outside of what Ren said, if I think that he would be a possibility, then sure. I definitely think, personally, I wouldn't mind looking at Chester Frazier. I think he's earned that. But I don't make the calls, and I think Ren's going to go their way. Somebody in the chat just asked a question too, and I don't normally address them, but I'm going to ask my bosses, guys, if I can address more of these chats, because I want to. I love talking to you guys. I haven't seen Joey Foster in a month or two. Is he okay? I know he retired from doing YouTube and stuff. He's a super nice guy. Hopefully he's okay. Honestly, I don't know. I know he was moving or doing something like that. And that's, somebody else mentioned, I don't know about the Will Wade thing either. Will Wade, Jeff Goodman just put out, Will Wade hasn't signed that contract yet. I would imagine Texas might be at play. Maybe we could be possibly, but I doubt it. I don't see Will Wade as being a fit with Ren Baker. Way too strong a personality. He's very much like Lane Kiffin. He just says what he wants, kind of difficult. But, man, he wins. There's no doubt about that. It would be a shocking hire, but it would be such a refreshing hire. If you're giving me the floor, yeah, that's my number one guy. He was my number one guy last year, though. So I don't see it happening, but I would be so happy if it did. Not a lot else to talk about tonight, guys. We'll get on here tomorrow. There'll be updates all weekend. Be watching the Drake versus Texas Tech game. Drake loses that game, things are going to move really quickly, and we'll have a coach by Sunday. If they win, I don't know what's going to happen. That's pretty much it. So I think if Drake loses tomorrow, we'll either be announcing McCollum or Calhoun by Sunday. If that doesn't happen, if Drake wins, I don't know what happens then. Because then they don't play again until the next Thursday after that. So they could meet, but I don't know what kind of update we would have. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Make sure you check out Locked On College Basketball. As Isaac Shea, Danny Patton do a wonderful job over there, and they keep you ready for March as this tournament rages on. Like the video before you leave, please. Subscribe before you get out of here as well if you're new around here, and comment down below. Let me know who you want as the head coach of the Mountaineers. Just type McCollum or type Calhoun, type Frazier, type Wade, or whoever you want. Let me know who you want down below so I can argue with you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow, guys. Good night. I'm out of here.